Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting live watch party. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me tonight is the amazing TheDayGhost. Hello, Austin!
How's it going, everybody?
It's time for more Simpsons, and this time we're going to do something a little bit different. Although not all that different, because we also do commentaries in our regular Simpsons discussion show. But tonight it's going to be just commentaries. We're going to sit back and relax, have a little bit of a Halloween special for you while we watch Simpsons Halloween specials. And we're doing 4 of the Treehouse of Horrors. This is Austin's milieu, so I let Austin pick the 4 episodes for this evening. He's been taking me through Simpsons, and I've been learning a great deal about it from our local Simpsons aficionado, and so I'm going to kind of relax and just let him regale us with information and opinion and stuff, and I'll probably, jump in and say things here and there. Austin was like, you should just mute yourself and just relax and watch this show. Probably won't do that. I like to fill in dead air so that this is, not boring, especially for people who aren't watching the show, because even saying watch party, I know there's going to be people who do that just listen to the commentary. But Austin, you picked our 4 episodes for this evening, and what 4 did you pick, and maybe a little bit about why?
So I picked Treehouse 4, 5, and 6, which is my holy trinity. I think they're the 3 best ones. And then originally you had said to me pick 6, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna put stuff in and kind of go from there. And then when we dropped down to 4, I was like, okay, I don't know, 11. I like the dolphin segment, so I'll just go with that.
It's the most bizarre thing. One of the most bizarre things I've seen in this show, although there's a lot of contenders, and I'm sure contenders that I haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was conflicted. There was one I was going to pick specifically because they do kind of a 28 Days Later segment, and I thought, because that's a movie you really like. And there's another one I was going to pick because Del Toro he directed the intro for it, and it's kind of cool, but Dolphins won.
Well, sorry we ended up cutting it down to 4, but we've been, the last couple watch parties, that's been kind of the magic number, somewhere between 4 and 5, and we've got other channel things to do a little bit later in the evening, so I wanted to keep it to that number, and anyway, thanks for hearing me. So we're doing 4, 5, 6, and 11, and those are in each of them the season after the number, because there wasn't a Treehouse episode for season 1, if that makes sense. So it's going to be seasons 6, 7, 8, and 12, I think is how that lines up. I put a link in the description and in the comments there for the playlist that Disney Plus has, if you're going to watch these on Disney Plus, for the Treehouse episodes. So that might make it easier to navigate and find them. But I reminded everybody of what seasons those are in the description. So, and jump over there if you need to be reminded of that. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. We'll have a little bit of a cartoon horror bash this evening as our last big hurrah for Halloween. We've been doing a little bit of Halloween stuff here and there. We did a Goosebumps watch party last week, which was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and we reviewed Halloween Kills.
Yeah, in the middle of that. That's true. There probably won't be a random, unplanned review this evening because
no Dune tonight.
I was going to say the only thing I've seen that I haven't talked about yet is Dune, and we're planning on that on the Captain Logan show next week. And I want to see it again before I really say anything about it. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't yet, so we're lucky. We won't drop off into that.
Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. If you're going to watch the show with us, and we really implore you to do that this evening, make sure to get out. Disney Plus is the way I imagine most of us are watching this, but of course, you might have DVDs, and the season in question for the first episode, again, is the, 3rd? Or no, I'm sorry, 5th.
It's the 5th
season.
Yep. 5.
Okay, so we're looking, Season 5, Episode 5, Treehouse of Horror IV. IV means 4. They don't teach Roman numerals anymore in school, so...
You just gotta add Rocky movie titles. That's how you figure it out.
I remember that. I don't remember what episode that is. I just remember that gag, but what season is that in?
Season finale of Season 6.
I was gonna say, I bet it's 6.
Rocky 7, Adrian's Revenge.
We should also probably point out real quick before we get started that these are all from seasons that we haven't covered on the season overviews yet.
Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, because my favorite era is 5 and 6, which is the David Merkin era, he, I think, works on, obviously he does 4 and 5, but I think he also was involved with Treehouse 6, so I think my 3 favorite ones were all ones that he was involved with.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, and we're into the Conan seasons at that point, too, but I don't think he actually wrote on any of those, as far as the Treehouses go.
I don't think so off the top of my head, but yeah, season 4 is where he starts.
Because your favorite episode of that season, or what you once told me probably was still your favorite episode of that, is a Conan episode.
Oh, it's awesome.
But we'll talk about that eventually. I have done my first watch through for 4. I've got to go back through that again and take some notes. So we are going to do that in the hopefully not too distant future. I don't want to promise when exactly that's happening, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, sometime in November, if not beginning of December. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Make sure you're watching Season 5, Episode 5, and everybody, please press play right now.
There we go. I had no audio. It's back when we used to do the tombstone gags.
Yeah, how long did that go? When did we quit doing that?
I want to say this is the last one, but I didn't rewatch these beforehand because I know the episodes so well, so I could be wrong about that.
It goes without saying, but we Count Chocula groaning. It goes without saying, but we won't be including these as possibilities when we do the eventual season overviews for these seasons for the commentaries on those episodes, because we will have already done them.
It's also back when we used to have like a connecting thing. Made it feel a bit more like the EC Comics template, which is how they obviously came up with the idea. I kind of wish they still did that. I don't know about you.
I like the idea of it not having to be consistent and going back and forth. I don't like the idea of dropping it out like forever more. Mm-hmm. But like if they have a fun idea like this with the paintings, because I think some of them are lamer than others. So,
oh, for sure.
You know, my favorite of the ones I've seen anyway, and of Simpsons in general, is 6, and I'm so glad that you included 6 because that'll be fun. It's my favorite. But I don't know what your framing device even would have been for that, so like, it made sense not to have one there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My favorite thing about the framing device in this episode is that at the end they kind of just throw their hands in the air and go, "We didn't really." Have an idea for the end of this, of how to make the thing with the framing device work, which sort of suggests that maybe they were frustrated with the framing devices and were having a hard time keeping them clever and connected enough, so they just made a joke about how irritated they were dealing with it, and I love that. It's really funny.
Well, and that's a parody of I can't remember what it's called. It might be something portrait or painting, but I think it's another Rod Sterling show. The framing device.
Oh, Night Gallery.
Night Gallery, thank you.
Which I've never seen, I just know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to correct you because I know somebody will. It's Serling. There's no T.
Oh, okay. Same thing. Tomato.
Okay, am I remembering this right or not? I seem to recall Ned Flanders being the devil in something even before this. Does that happen? Or am I conflating that with something else? Because I think
you're conflating it with something
maybe
else.
So. Because we get a devil gag in somewhere in season 3, don't we? But is that just like the standard Simpsons devil? I couldn't remember if that was a Ned Flanders devil or not.
Yeah, no, I think it's just like a standard devil.
There's something very Jafar-esque about this devil.
How he gets all big?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the writers being tired of the framing device thing. For season 4, they were actually not going to do a Treehouse episode because the showrunners were like, "This idea is tired. Let's not do that again."
Wow!
But all the writers
already
were like, No, you got to do it.
Well, I'm glad they kept doing them because I think the best of them are after that.
Yeah, exactly.
This is one of the better vignettes, I think, of these. Like I think everything about it is just really funny, and then the end of it is one of the more bizarre payoffs. And I think it's sort of like that weird, and I'm a little rusty trying to remember everything we've talked about before this, but the weird like two-headed gag that we did in one of the early ones, it's sort of that again, just this weird nonsensical something has to transform into something else, or you like, you know, combine a couple of things thing, but I think it's more effective and weirder and funnier in this one. And this will probably get my most disturbing moment, by the way, when we get to this season.
The hot dog meat specifically, or just the scene?
Just well, I guess the scene overall, but particularly just Homer getting cut up and still talking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is one of those gags where you know exactly where it's going. It's like, yes, you're going to try to force Homer to eat donuts for all eternity for being hell. You don't understand this character. He's going to be fine. By the way, welcome, chat. Thanks, everybody, for being here. RJ Godzilla, why not Treehouse 3?
Treehouse 3 is a really good one.
He's calling you out, sir. This is why I let you choose.
We will get to talk about it this season, so like for our next one.
But you had to pick this one because it's got Lionel Hutz in the very first vignette, right?
Oh, of course. He's my favorite character. He has to be here. I think this is the only Treehouse he appears in, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Might be the only one Phil Hartman's in general, actually.
I really like the payoff with him at the end of this when he just has no case and runs off.
Oh, it's a classic Lionel Hutz joke, yeah.
It's pretty funny. And Richard Nixon goes, "I'm not even dead yet!" And then, of course, Simpsons always got some dated humor that sometimes feels less dated to me because I'm an old person and I was there and I remember some things that were contemporarily going on when the show was on. And there's other things like that hockey team joke that would have been over my head then, and I don't know why that's supposed to be funny. And I would have to look it up, and I don't care enough to do that.
See, with the
sports
hockey team
jokes.
thing, I just think it's funny that it's like all these evil people and then a hockey team. And that's the one that the family's scared of.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a joke there that if you were familiar with that. I mean, maybe it's just hockey players are all violent, but I bet there's like something actually to that, specifically with that hockey team, but I would have to look it up. I don't know.
Oh, chat's correcting me. That is right. Phil Hartman does play Bill Clinton in the Citizen Kang segment. I almost picked that episode too, but
Bill Clinton.
I didn't end up going with that one because I remember we watched that together, and you were like, "This episode's kind of boring until the final segment." So,
I like the loophole in this vignette because it kind of plays that like tugging at your heartstrings thing that Simpsons sometimes does really effectively and manages to get away with, and then immediately undercuts it because it's a Treehouse episode. So it's like, you know, oh, Homer already pledged his soul to Marge, so the devil can't have it. And then at the end, he's going to have a donut head.
And you can use that skin in Hit and Run. It's awesome. And it's got like a little bite in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
But yeah, things like that make me almost momentarily forget that I'm watching a, like, you know, goofy sort of Elseworld story.
For sure.
I mean, as we've talked about a lot with the show, not that it has a real close-knit continuity in the first place, but it doesn't do that. I always use this comparison, but God, it's so weird. it doesn't do that. This was the inspiration for my food novel. No, but it doesn't do that Dexter's Laboratory thing where you could blow up the whole world after the end of an episode, and then the next episode everything is fine. Like, it doesn't go quite that far, but the Treehouse episodes can do stuff like that because none of this is actually really happening.
And as they go on, I think there's more of like a realization that they can do that, and you get a lot more like killing characters off and stuff like that.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because I think that was part of the point of the framing device in the first place was in the framing device, this stuff is all, if there is a canon, in the canon. Right? Like that's all the real characters imagining or telling stories where then they all put themselves in the positions of those characters. And so that, of course, inside of those stories, you could do anything you wanted to. But, I also always assumed that they use the framing device to make it easier to kind of set up the parody and stuff. And then later on, even without the framing device, they'll just, okay, this one's a parody of this movie. Or in this case, TV episode.
Yeah, they do a lot of Twilight Zone stuff early on. This also is the only episode of Treehouse of Horror where they introduce a character, which is, besides, like Kang and Kodos.
Yeah.
But we get Uter in this episode.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see him in other episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they mess around with him a lot in Treehouse, too.
Tom just put in a super chat. Thanks, Tom. Hey, it's your food novel. Yep, I also was thinking that. But curiously, not when I watched this in preparation for this. It didn't. Just while we were just out watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I wrote a thing where everybody turns into food just like that, and you had donut head people in edible states. And I don't mean to knock this short when I say this, because this one is fine. There's some funny things here. I don't love it. I think it's considered somewhat classic, but it's not necessarily one of my favorites. But I think the funniest thing about this is just the title. Just Terror at 5.5 feet. It's great.
This one as a kid I thought was just like really scary. Like this was one of the few that actually creeped me out as a kid.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No. The title is the second best thing about this. The gremlin joke is amazing. Where it explodes just because it's there.
Yeah, Man's always funny.
Yeah, but it's specifically the fact that it's a gremlin. It's it's the Pinto thing. It's like you blow it up because it's a notoriously terrible car that had a really bad safety rating. It's fantastic. Mr. Roboto Cap, how did the trick-or-treating go so far? We don't have, like, days of trick-or-treating. We're going to do that on Sunday with my kids.
You celebrate Halloween like it's Hanukkah?
That's what or the days leading up to Christmas? The 12 days of Halloween?
Here's our Kang Kodos cameo. Now they're gone.
So I never realized until you mentioned it in one of our discussion videos that Kang and Kodos are like kind of specifically Treehouse characters. Like I know that there's exceptions to that, but I never realized, like it never occurred to me that I just remembered seeing them in some episodes, but I didn't realize that they were all Treehouse ones.
Yeah, well, it's nice too because like they're in every episode, but they don't feel the need to make sure that they have their own segment specifically. Like if they don't have one, they don't have to force it. So for a while, you just get like little cameo jokes like that.
RJ Godzilla, man, I missed the Treehouse of Horror's format of spoofing a horror movie, then Twilight Zone, and lastly a scary book/story. We should go back to it. I didn't realize that it was exactly that format.
Yeah, I never really thought about it
for the first few. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess so. That is what this is. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right that they do a good job of giving this, in at least a cartoony way, a kind of foreboding atmosphere. But I don't know, you can't. Even as a kid, you couldn't creep me out with gremlins. This is immediately gremlin. I'm like, eh.
The Willy gag though, where he pulls up the thing and it's Willy. Like if you know that episode of the Twilight Zone, that's a really good joke.
Yeah, it's great. And this isn't like the Shining one where it's, almost beat for beat, but a lot of the beats are in there.
Mm-hmm. Or the Nightmare on Elm Street one, where it's just that movie condensed into 20 minutes.
Down.
Or 20 minutes, like 8. 6, maybe.
No, I said truncated down, certainly not.
No, I said...
Oh, yeah, no, 8 or 9 minutes. Yeah, it's impressively
Even...
economical. These people should be writing 20-page comic books.
Well, that's the other thing is, you got a lot of, like, Treehouse comics. And even with the main Simpsons book, they did like an EC Comics thing when you flipped it around and they would tell like a horror story.
Oh, that's cool. I would like to eventually cover some of that stuff. We've talked about that. And I don't know that anybody will care or that anybody will watch it, but we should do it for us. Because what I've read of that stuff I've loved.
No, a lot of that stuff's great.
I will finally get the one Simpsons comic that you and I have reviewed up in the next couple weeks. That is finally going to happen. We recorded a video a year ago that I completely forgot about that I've never posted. It's gonna happen. I promise. I'm sorry. You'd think the Nelson haha thing would get more tired than it is. If you time it right, it's always funny. That's why you can keep getting away with it.
No, it's a great catchphrase.
It didn't occur to me earlier when I watched this yesterday that this is that gag that just gets me really gets me. We just didn't have anything for this one. Oh, the dog playing poker thing is great because that picture will be in their living room.
In the segment, they replace it with the boat. They replace the boat painting with it. It's great.
But I was just gonna say, is this intentional? Flanders is the devil, and then he is in that vignette, a disembodied talking head, and he's kind of horrifying in both of them. I never thought of that. But is there a scary Flanders thing in this third one? Are they just doing like weird Flanders?
This was always one of my favorites as a kid, but like there were aspects of it that I thought were creepy, but I always liked this. And it, like for years, I could never remember if Dracula was from Transylvania or Pennsylvania because of the segment.
The Pennsylvania joke is so good. It was fun.
Great.
I was watching these with my son Jason, and it was interesting seeing which of them, which gags he laughed at and which ones kind of went over his head. And because he's getting more and more stuff as he's getting older, of course. He's 11 now, and he's a sharp kid, and he's real cultured. And he surprised me all the time about stuff with stuff that he gets that I wouldn't think he would. That went right over his head.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I should probably show him an old Dracula movie or two.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of good stuff.
This is my favorite thing in this episode.
Vulgar.
Sorry, just the floating burns.
Oh, it's great. They take so much of the imagery from the Coppola movie for this, and it looks really great. And then it turns into a Lost Boys parody, but there's like a mix of things going on.
Oh, I guess it didn't occur to me that they were doing Lost Boys at the end of this. And of course, I've seen both of those movies, but I haven't seen that Dracula in a really long time. But watching this, I was reminded, that's right, I have seen that before. Like, stuff is coming back to me.
Yeah, you have a video on it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was one of the old How We Felt, or He Made Me Watch. Eric made you watch it.
No. Lost Boys, yes. I'm talking about Dracula.
I'm talking about. I am talking about Dracula too.
Oh.
He made you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like one of the first ones.
Oh, okay. But I was talking about like the really old school Dracula, like the black and white Dracula.
Okay.
Sorry. I guess you said Coppola and I missed that. But yes, there's some of that in this too. But the thing with the floating burns next to it, like that goes all the way back. Right?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's
That is a great
classic
movie, though.
black and white iconography.
You got some like Nosferatu stuff there.
Yeah.
With some of those designs. I mean, we always go to that for vampire stuff, but gotta slip it in somehow.
The super fun happy slide is very smart on Burns Dracula's part, because kids can't resist that guy. It's like the old shave and a haircut. Toons just can't resist it.
Yeah, it's like giving you the like end of the world button and telling you not to push it. Of course you push it.
Stephen Murphy, Bart is a vampire, beer kills brain cells. He just keeps writing good lines from the show in the comments. But yes, the beer kills brain cells thing is hilarious. I like the creepy color scheme they go with for the house and the night shot there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another thing with because Treehouse is always consistently better animated, and at a certain point, I can't remember where exactly. Every Treehouse of Horror becomes a holdover episode where they start at the season before, so they have more time to work on it.
I missed that line before when Milhouse says, "If you say you're a vampire, you get a free small drink at the theater." I somehow I missed that before. That's really funny.
We need to kill the boy.
He's a vampire. Yeah, that's really funny. I found myself really impressed with the animations both times somebody turns into a bat in this episode, or comes back from being a bat.
Other way around, yeah. There's a lot of great animation and like lighting.
Stephen Murphy, I hope you're not watching this next to a person that's never seen it before, because I can just tell reading the chat that you're one of those people. That, like, you just gotta say the episode the whole time as you watch it. I'm just messing with you. And then we just get really nonsensical when he disintegrates and then comes back for a second to correct Homer on something. Oh no, tell him he's fired. That's what it is.
That's the horror thing. He's got to come back for one last scare.
Oh, people seem to be ahead of us in the comments. Because people keep referencing things that haven't happened yet.
Oh, interesting. I know I'm a few seconds behind because it like took a second to play.
Because somebody said Peanuts Christmas special reference. We're not even there yet.
They could just be like saying that it's coming.
Oh, maybe
actually,
so.
The way
this is a quote along. I mean, that's fair. We could totally quote along.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know it.
Could.
I don't know it well enough to do that myself, but Austin can, I'm sure.
I've been fighting myself.
Okay, this is a good time to ask this question. Do you think The Simpsons could have gotten away with a yearly Christmas special the same way they did a Halloween one, especially considering that the official first episode, and one of the better episodes of the first season, is a Christmas episode?
Yeah, I've always thought it was strange how few Christmas episodes they have. Like, because just like with Halloween, Disney Plus puts together a compilation thing, and it's like you get like the first episode, and then I think the second Christmas one, if I'm not missing something, is like season 11. Like they go a huge stretch without doing anything Christmas again.
Yeah.
Well, another big
I guess the
question
problem
is,
with doing that is you've got, I mean, not that you have a small number of episodes, but you've got, 22, 23 episodes a season after that first season, and like two on your slate would have to always be a holiday episode. So I don't know that they would have wanted to do that, but.
Mm-hmm. And then the other question is, do you think they could have ever spun Treehouse of Horror off into its own show?
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's not a thing that you'd want to do, like, for a whole season of television, I wouldn't think, because it's so Halloween specific, but maybe.
because like obviously like with the comics and stuff, we've kind of spun that off, and it's kind of like a life of its own within the show, where even to this day, like I know a lot of people who don't watch modern Simpsons, but will come back every Halloween for that episode.
Yeah, it's become a tradition. Considering that it's a parody of, it would have to be less Halloween specific, obviously, but considering that it's a parody of like anthology horror stuff, like maybe you could, but I would think that you'd have to get away from everything has to be a parody, or nearly everything has to be a parody.
Yeah, and if it's its own show, you could probably bump it up so that every episode is one story instead of like 3 segments each time.
Oh, sure, but it's still these characters pretending to be, maybe sometimes being the Simpsons characters, or sometimes pretending to be other characters, so you can play it like a like an anthology thing, a vignette thing, where each time it's sort of like it's another, like it's a brand new cast, but we're all in the know and we know that it's not. It's like, you know, these characters playing characters. Yeah, that could work. It'd be easy for that to get real tired.
Oh, absolutely. That's not a show that could last like 30 seasons. But,
no, but 5 or 6, I would think the way to do that would be to get a lot of different writers on it. You'd want guest writers constantly, and maybe even, I don't know, maybe you'll hate this idea, I would almost take the risk of mixing it up even with animators and trying some different styles on it.
I mean, at a certain point, they kind of do that. Not with segments specifically, but with the intro, they do that a lot. Like there's the one intro that's directed by John Kay, and it's like just that kind of like Ren and Stimpy style art. They do that a lot with guest animators.
That's the thing, and I don't want to talk too much about season 4 yet, obviously, because we're going to do our show on that, but I was surprised by how much Ren and Stimpy was in that season, and not just like making fun of it, but they had like exactly that animation style with what sounded like those voices. It didn't even seem like they were making fun of Ren and Stimpy. It was almost like cameos. It was weird.
Well, Matt Groening, famously once said that Ren and Stimpy is the only good like animated show on TV except for The Simpsons.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yes, that was definitely something he was looking at.
He had to share his love for that show in his own show.
Yeah,
that's interesting. But now that we talked about that animation style shift thing, I want to see the like vignette movie or season of television for like anime creators doing The Simpsons. Now that sort of
the Star Wars
or the Matrix,
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right, let's go ahead and get into our second episode for the evening. It is season 5. Wait, we just did that. Why?
Season 6, episode 6. Treehouse.
Yeah, sorry.
5.
Give me a second.
No, it gets like kind of weird because obviously it's one season behind.
No, I know, but I didn't mess it up. It was Disney Plus. Somehow put me on the episode I just watched. I don't even know how that happened. But anyway. So it's season 6, episode 6, right?
Yep.
That's not gonna keep happening, right? The next one's not gonna be 7 and 7.
No, at a certain point, for a while, it's like the first episode every season.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think either the next one or the one after that we're doing tonight was the first episode of the season. I was kind of surprised by that. Oh, and we're still...
I think it's probably number 11, because it can't be the next one. Yeah, because that's the first episode of that is Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Mr. Roboto, didn't Simpsons have yearly Christmas specials? No, not really.
No, they surprisingly don't have much on that.
Again,
I
think
Treehouse-like thing for Valentine's Day once.
Oh, really?
But...
I just think that's weird, again, because their first episode is a Christmas special.
Yeah, that is true.
And we're still with this episode doing the disclaimer at the beginning, or making fun of disclaimers, or poking fun of ourselves because we felt the need to do that the first time. I'm not even sure what these are about now, but we're still doing them.
Yeah, you can just reuse the animation, so it helps.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. It's season 6, episode 6, Treehouse of Horror V. Is everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
It is fun because last year or maybe 2 years ago when they finally hit 30. It's also the 666th episode of the show. It's
Oh,
pretty fun that
cool.
it worked out that way. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and of course, they could have put it any place in that season that they wanted to.
Oh, of course.
So, like,
yeah.
I'm not even sure that there would be a way for them not to have that opportunity. But it's cool they thought to do it, though.
Yeah, because they do posters for all the Treehouse episodes, and I had like a tagline that was like, this was the plan all along.
So Homer laughing at seeing his own voice. This is all Outer Limits, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was about to mention that.
I'm sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, it's all good. Because I also couldn't remember the name of the show, so...
Have you ever seen Outer Limits?
I haven't.
That's also a great show. What I've seen of it. And I certainly haven't, and it's been forever, I certainly haven't seen anything like as much of that as I have Twilight Zone.
That's also a Todd Sterling show?
Rod Serling? No. Outer Limits was like the dueling show with that, where it's like you had this other show that was kind of the same concept, but... Is this the first time that we do an intro like this where we just use a bunch of the supporting characters and do fun things with them?
I think so, yeah, because I think before this it's just been the cemetery, right?
Yeah. I guess so.
And they get like, more and more elaborate.
Didn't you tell me that there's it's the shinning. This is a lot of people's favorite. That's
my favorite, yeah. It's great.
So... Everything about this short makes me laugh. Like, there's not one thing in it that doesn't work. And I think the best thing maybe the best thing in the whole thing is the bit where he keeps doing different late night talk shows.
David Letterman.
And in a way, it's really obvious, but I don't care because the execution is so good.
Yeah, exactly.
The choices of camera angles are all just perfect for making fun of The Shining. It's all like it's cut right, and there's a lot of these like crane looking shots and stuff.
Yeah, and The Shining is such a specific looking movie, but they nail it completely. I keep telling Dan he's got to watch this episode because he loves that movie so much.
Oh, he does. But I mean, you got to have a real attention to detail. This is another, again, hysterical line that gets me every time. The blood usually gets off at the second floor.
Yeah, so when I saw Doctor Sleep, because the third act of Doctor Sleep kind of just becomes nostalgia.
I still haven't seen that. I keep forgetting all about it.
I like it quite a bit, but the third act is a lot weaker than the rest of it. And they do a lot more like nostalgia stuff for The Shining, and I couldn't get this episode out of my head. And there were certain things like they do the elevator shot, and I was like, normally it gets off on the second floor.
It's The Shining. That gag about how we gotta add a letter so we don't get sued. It's so good because they're just totally owning that they're somewhere between parody and just straight up. Well, I want to say between parody and straight up ripping it off. I mean, not really. It is like real parody. It's really good parody, but they're not usually beat for beat like this. And I think that's part of the reason that they're doing that. Instead of coming up with something even farther off from Shining, just adding an N where they're going like, yeah, we wanted to just make The Shining and make fun of really specific details. The red rum gag is great, and I think that's easy to miss first time out. Yeah, it's funny you said that with Dan because I finally got my wife to watch The Shining a couple years ago, and she's not a horror person, but she was curious about it, and she knew it was a big film canon kind of movie, so she wanted to finally to see it, and It's the kind of thing that she would never probably go back to, but she was glad she saw it once, and I should
nice.
I should show her this also.
Yeah, The Shining is a great movie.
I also like, though, that they make fun of the kind of, incongruities and some of the nonsensical stuff in that movie, so particularly like character motivations, where the ghosts in this are like, we don't really know why we're doing anything we're doing. This is less encouraging. I also like that at no point do we pretend like Homer in this is a writer. He doesn't really have any reason to be at a keyboard. Something.
Go crazy?
It's hard to watch the good ones and not just do what RJ Godzilla is doing.
Stephen Murphy? Oh no, they're both
And
doing
also, I think they're one-upping each other at this point.
I want to see them type out the, like, woo, 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 woo.
And they also strike a really nice balance here of making Homer laugh out loud, goofy, and also like a little bit disturbing.
Oh, the animation on him, on his freak out there is so perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. But again, beat for beat, like, he's got to fall down the stairs for some reason, so he just scares himself in a mirror, and instead of getting knocked down the stairs, he just falls down.
Yeah, no, it's doing that perfect thing of, we're doing The Shining, but we've also replaced Jack with Homer. Just like, of course that's what would happen.
No, listen, Andy Rooney at 60 Minutes. Yeah, and then he's got that Jack expression. Like, that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that's over. This is really brilliant. I think in
It's
an
so
almost
tight,
objective
like...
way, this is probably the best of the vignettes that at least we're watching tonight, even though it's not my favorite. Just from a writing level.
We've gotten 6 minutes or however long, maybe 7, to do The Shining, and it's so tight, and it uses like every single second it has.
I was going to say, I'm going to review this episode like this. The Simpsons is a laugh every 10-second show. This is a laugh every 2-second vignette, and they all work.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there wasn't anything that you could give Jack Torrance at the end of this that would have made him just snap out of it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Not even beer.
Yeah, if only The Shining could have worked out with just TV.
Why has Jack Nicholson gotten so many roles where he gets to play a character with his own first name?
And all characters that are crazy, like Jack Nicholson.
That's true. Just like Jack Nicholson. Oh my god, it's so good. And you almost want that to be the last of your vignettes. Because, like, I don't think, besides... Well, and again, I haven't seen all of these, but what do you think, like, how often do they end these with the best of the three, where it ends on, like, the highest note possible? Because Homer to the Third Power absolutely is that, but I don't know that the rest of them, or that very many other ones do that.
Yeah, some of them do. Like, the one, Citizen Kang, is the end of that episode, and that's, like, one of my favorite segments in general. Sometimes they do, sometimes it's just kind of like a lackluster finish.
Oh, you know what, though? This whole time travel thing is really funny.
Mm-hmm. No, I think all three of the segments in this episode are really good.
I don't remember what the third one is for this. They're all running together for me now because I just watched all these segments in a row. It's weird binging these. You forget which one happens where after a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the Nightmare Cafeteria segment that finishes this one.
Oh yes, of course. And that, of course, is also a big classic. It's weird that those are both in this episode.
That one's like legitimately horrifying. The teachers at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one's almost too disturbing for me. Like, I kind of don't want to watch it again, but... You're right, though. They pull out all the animation stops in these. Mm-hmm. Well, at the very least, he stopped Jurassic Park from happening.
Oh, that's not good.
That was the mosquito. Austin, now it was that one.
Was that the mosquito that somehow had the DNA of like a sea creature from Jurassic World?
Yes. So yeah, I love playing around with butterfly effect like this. I don't really know how exactly killing one mosquito could have led to Ned Flanders taking over the world, and more importantly, and this is a thing that is difficult to ever deal with in time travel things because it just wouldn't be any fun if you were completely realistic about it, but if you have a butterfly effect that changes things so dramatically like this, I don't know how even the same people would have ended up being born. Like, I'm always kind of taken out by that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like everybody all got together with the same people and had the same children, but somehow stepping on a mosquito made Ned Flanders take over the world. By the way, this is horrifying, and this should have been the third vignette from the last one where you just have an escalation of insane Ned Flanders stuff.
This episode does have the great, like, running gag of Willie getting the axe in the back, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the running thing through this one.
I guess I didn't even catch that. This is also too disturbing. Where, like, they all got a piece of their brain cut out by Ned Flanders.
Yeah. The joke here with the sausages, where, you know,
he
eats run faster... There's a really good variation on that in the Lemon of Troy episode you mentioned earlier, where the dog's chasing Bart, and Homer's like, "Don't worry, boy, I'll distract it," and he throws a steak at it, and it makes the dog run faster. And he's like, "Run, boy! He's got the taste of meat now!"
No, that's great, though. He's got sausages. He doesn't even think to throw them to the dogs. What an idiot. I am still marveling at that gag, the Dr. Seuss thing. I wish I had killed him. How did somebody even think to put that in there? That's fantastic. Now we get to a super nonsensical place, and again, like, I don't want to overthink the time travel because it's obviously just a joke. But like, how did the house even get there the way it is, and the living room looks the same?
Yeah.
Like, it's their house, but they're giants. So like, have they always been giant? I don't understand.
I also love that Bart has like his regular voice, but then Lisa speaks, and she's like, "Okay."
At this point, they're just trying to throw you off. This is my favorite part of this because it's so depressing if you're Homer Simpson. Because he actually changed reality to become his perfect universe and thinks that it's actually hell because everything's perfect except there's no donuts. And then when he leaves, it's raining donuts. That's amazing. It's so good. That is brilliant. It's just brilliant. Okay, I feel like an idiot. So I feel like an idiot for asking this, but what besides, like, the Time Machine are we parodying here?
I'm not entirely sure. It might be more of like an original thing. Just kind of like looking at time travel in general. I don't know offhand.
If there's anything specific.
Hmm.
So I apologize for not interacting more with the comments tonight, but most of it is just people writing what I'm hearing. Yeah.
I love with the James Earl Jones playing Maggie thing that now I see articles that are like, oh, Elizabeth Berkley to James Earl Jones, everyone that's ever played Maggie Simpson.
And this is kind of a nice reversal at the end where he's just like, it's fine. I can live with that. Also, did you catch that the music cue at the end of the last vignette is the same as the beginning of this one?
No, I didn't think about it offhand.
Yeah, it's just got an extra note. It keeps going. So, and it seems to be on purpose. I don't know. I don't think there was a commercial break in between either. Like, I think if you were watching this on television, you would have seen that, noticed it if you were paying attention to it. But it goes bomb bomb, and then you get the title for this for this story, and then it does the exact same music cue. Mostly circus animals. Oh my god. There's a couple of jokes in just these episodes, unless I'm conflating it with something from 4, because I've been watching a lot of Simpsons lately, where more than one character we're using to make fun of the fact that nobody ever changes clothes. Where they're...
Oh, yeah.
They're talking about like how they're stuck with it's his favorite outfit, but I think Lisa or Marge 1 has a thing about like having to wear the same outfit she's wearing. It's like that's the only thing you ever wear.
Well, I think it's in season 4, the episode with the burglar, where he like steals stuff from the town, and he steals Marge's necklace, and she pulls out a ball and just like takes another one out and puts it on.
So yeah, I'm not actually, even before a lot of these students start getting eaten, this episode is really freaky deaky. I'm not sure that I buy that you would even see as many kids around and in classrooms as you do, because there's so many kids like loaded into the detention room that it seems like that would have to be a lot of the school already. Oh yeah, this episode has that Uter kid again. So is he in episodes in between, or is he just in a couple of Treehouses now?
Yeah, no, he's in like other episodes too. It's just he's first introduced in Treehouse, and he's the only character that is of like a regular series characters.
That's really interesting. You got to keep him around so that we can make fun of German people. Sorry, what?
Said Uter's great.
This is my favorite line of this episode. I can't fight all your battles for you. If the teachers are trying to eat you, you gotta go fight against that.
Just walk right up to them and say, "Don't eat me."
Overweight Krabappel because she's eating children just bothers. Like I can't handle it. And then they do close-ups and stuff. Like it just bothers me.
Yeah, no, this one's like genuinely pretty horrifying.
And I think I know I've kind of dogged on this before, but this actually makes the that episode in or that story in the first Treehouse episode with the aliens where they're pretending where they're trying to make us think that they're gonna eat everyone, but they're actually not. It makes it worse because here they actually went that far.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes that episode lamer.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna have nightmares again, Austin. Thanks to you.
Are you gonna dream about Willie getting an axe in the back?
No, I'm not as bothered by that.
No.
Stephen Murphy, Homer doesn't appear in the segment. I didn't even notice that. I
Yeah,
guess he
that is
doesn't.
true.
That's a giant Hamilton beach. God, that's disturbing. I know I'm being redundant, but that is disturbing. And you know, when he said that, I actually believed him at first, the first time I saw this. And then, of course, he wakes up and it's a dream. But then you're like, oh, something else really messed up is about to happen, right? And then it's even more screwed up than the rest of what you just watched. No!
And then Santa's little helper starts like ripping Bart to shreds in the background.
I remember seeing this when I was a kid and thinking, I am too young to be watching this. And, like, I'm only allowed to watch this because it's a cartoon, but it's not for children. I shouldn't be looking at this. And then I had the same thing because I forgot about this segment. And, oh, and also let me say real quick that when the credits come up, you go, oh, yay, it's a mercy. They're going to cut away from... They don't cut away from this. It's a whole musical number that goes through the whole thing. Blood everywhere. And there's more... They're really consistent about it. There's more blood on the floor constantly as they go along. But Jason was watching this with me, and we got to this, and I was like, oh, I forgot about this segment. I'm not sure if I should be letting him watch this.
And this is also the song that they were singing on the TV during the Shinning segment.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
I missed that. Good call. Philip Kelton, this traumatized me. Yeah, it's traumatizing me again all over right now. God, that's screwed up.
It's so good.
I love the organ thing they do at the end of a lot of these.
Yeah, the messing around with, oh, it's Lisa's girlfriend, your favorite episode.
Wait, what?
It was like playing Lisa's girlfriend, or Bart's girlfriend. Sorry, I had a moment.
Is that my favorite episode?
No, you told me you really liked that episode, but
oh,
I
don't even know what.
Started at 3D Homer.
I don't even know which one that is.
The church is the Reverend's daughter.
I don't even remember that right off, but apparently I like it.
Yeah, you were like, this episode is so good. Although you did tell me that, like, probably around when we did that comic review.
Well, 6 years from now, when we get to that season. Hey guys, let's take just a real quick break, and then we'll watch the other 2 episodes. If that's cool with you, Austin. How about,
Yep.
I don't know, 3-4 minutes? We'll be right back.
Cool, sounds good to me.
Folks, the next episode, if you haven't got it rigged up yet, is the 6th Treehouse of Horror, and it is Season 7, Episode 6, and it's my favorite. It's the one with the partial Poltergeist parody, and Austin is already back.
Yep. I was just eating while we were on break, so I was here.
What did you have?
Just some fries. Nothing too crazy.
Fries.
Oh.
What Canadian restaurant that we don't have here did you go to?
Wendy's.
It's like we wrote that bit! I'm so proud of that! We didn't even write it.
No, everything I say that's, like, funny isn't written, so...
That was so good! Yeah, but, like, I set you up for that! Oh, man. That
was perfect.
That was really funny. Anyway, alright. We're gonna watch now our last 2 Treehouse episodes for this evening, and part of the reason also, Austin, that I wanted to cut this back to 4 episodes is I thought there was really no reason, if we wanted to, that we couldn't do more of these in the future for other Halloween weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's so many of these. I mean, we might get into some not very good ones, but they still might at least be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I think the only Treehouse episode that I legitimately really don't like is Treehouse 10. Wait, I think it's from season 9. So Treehouse 8. I don't know. It's got like a Harry Potter parody and like a superhero parody. It's really weird. I don't really like that one. But most of them are it's pretty consistent even as the years go by.
Well, and don't they do some of these 3-segment vignette things outside of Treehouse? Because I don't think the Bartman one is a Treehouse episode. I've seen that. It's not great, but
no, that's it's they take a theme. It's like a revenge theme, and they do segments with that. There's like a religious epic one that's like that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they do like a mix.
If we had intended to definitely do these year by year, it might have been smart to just start with the first 4
order
and move on, but I wasn't thinking that when I told you to pick some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely.
So I don't know. It could become a staple. It just depends on Austin if we feel like continuing that and if we're still doing Simpsons stuff, but...
RJ Godzilla says Treehouse 15. That one's awful. I'm trying to remember which one's 15.
Well, you probably haven't seen all of them, right? Because I know you haven't watched all of the shows, unless you do keep up with Treehouse every time.
I last year went through everything that was on Disney Plus. They hadn't updated yet, so I still they just put the last 2 on there, so I have to go back and do that.
Okay.
But, I've seen most of them.
So
now.
you have seen most of them now. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So are some of the more recent ones actually decent, or do they tend to be pretty lame?
Yeah, no, there's some pretty good newer ones. You hit a certain point, though, where a lot of modern Treehouse is a thing I don't really like, where we move away from horror parodies. And, one of the more modern ones is, a Kingsman parody. They do stuff like that, and it's I don't really know why. They fit in a lot of violence, but it's not really what I want from Treehouse.
Yeah. Well, I feel like some of the early ones will go to some things that aren't straight up horror, but they do them in a more horror kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the way to do it. They did a Transformers parody where it starts off, like that movie, and then all of a sudden it's just, the Transformers are horrifying monsters that are gonna kill all of us, and then it switches.
That's
so
okay.
It's you at least did something with it, yeah.
Yeah, you at least fit the theme.
Yeah, the Kingsman one is basically just an excuse to animate the church fight.
Okay. I just think if you're gonna do that, you could do. I mean, it'd be nice if it was better, but you do something like the revenge theme one, where it's okay, we're gonna do movies based on comics or whatever we're doing.
Well, unless I'm misremembering, I think that's also the segment that does Hunger Games. So they could have that's also not a horror thing.
Yeah.
That because the big thing with that treehouse is that they kill every single character, at least most of them, and only like two of them repeat across the segments, and it's just like constant people dying.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
So that's just kind of like the gimmick, which you could have done outside of Treehouse too, like you were saying.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's go back to classic Treehouse.
That was my
shall we?
rant.
What I think is the most classic of them. We're gonna go to Treehouse 6, and so I love this mostly for the last segment, but I always forget that the first segment is also one of my favorite things in this show. So.
And it's a level in the Simpsons game.
Oh, is it? You told me that before,
billboards?
probably, and I forgot. Yeah, but. Well, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, guys. Season 7, episode 6, and now the episode number is now less than the season number. Finally, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. It's weird doing commentaries on The Simpsons and not being able to every time go, The Simpsons. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Oh.
Hey, look,
there's
it's our
the thumbnail.
background for today. So didn't you tell me at some point they just stopped with the nicknames because they ran out of them?
No, so they do that, and then people immediately get mad, and then they bring it back the next year. It might even be that episode I said is my least favorite.
That's really funny. Well, and they were already by just 4 or 5 repeating some of the ones they'd done before, so why not just have some old ones mixed in with new ones?
Yeah, and you're like getting new writers and stuff, so like you can do new stuff with them.
I paid for a colossal donut.
Yeah, both Hit and Run and the Simpsons game have the kind of treehouse segments, and the Simpsons game, they do this one, they do like an alien invasion, and they do the dolphins.
That is so weird. One of the things that's really fun about this one is it lets us parody some things outside of horror, but also at the same time using them in the same way that some, especially kind of kitschy horror movies would, where, and even obviously things like Ghostbusters with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right? Where you're right. Even Stay Puft is like making fun of and parroting a cross of a couple things that exist already, with like the Michelin Man and stuff. And so,
and we're kind of doing that like 50s horror thing where you just have like the really giant things that are attacking.
Yeah. There's giant versions of things that are already in the real world. Wouldn't it be horrifying if they came to life? So are you going to ask the question or shall I?
What's that?
How'd he get the donut in the house?
Through the door.
And then they're top heavy. It's great. Don't scratch them heads. I love it so much. And then, of course, Brockman's got to get killed by Brockman. It's classic. I don't know how to talk over this one. I just want to watch it again. I hate to be driving a bus right now. I forgot about that line. And then there's Mr. Peanut.
This one's just a lot of fun.
So I'm sure some of these, big store mascots are like Mr. Peanut, and more specifically, like direct parodies of things that I just am not familiar with.
Yeah, I feel like the big head ones definitely were.
He was turning into a monster, though. Yeah, and that rings a bell. That's something I've seen before, but I don't remember what.
Bart on the shoulder of the devil is pretty great.
Yeah. This would have been mid-90s, 94, 95, so I'm like 10, 11 when this comes out. So, still at a place where some of the gags are going to be very over my head. especially if we're making fun of anything that's been around for more than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, the lard lad is definitely something really specific from like the 40s or 50s, and I also am not placing that exactly.
Especially because Austin Powers has. Actually, the Austin Powers one might just straight up be what they're parodying. Not that movie, but like that. Because I think that just is the mascot.
Yeah, I mean, that movie's not even out yet.
Yeah, but I think that's not like a parody.
Right?
They just
Isn't that
used
like
the mascot.
97, 98?
Hmm. Yep.
Aren't you tired of being wrong all the time?
What?
No, his line to Marge.
Oh.
Not you! See, now I'm just doing what they're doing in the comments. I'm quoting.
Oh, okay.
Austin, aren't you tired of being wrong all the time?
Yes.
I also
if you
feel
Ike,
like
you'll love. I couldn't read the bottom part.
I also feel like if this was a movie, this would be the way it would end.
If sorry, what was that?
Like, if this premise exactly was a movie, this would be the way they would solve this problem.
Oh, absolutely. This is like Mars Attacks.
Yeah, it is like Mars Attacks. Like, just ignore them. You know? Because you'd have that really obvious social commentary in your monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, ignore the advertising. We have the power to not be influenced and corrupted by people trying to sell us things. It's great. Like, sometimes these cross over into a place of, almost actual storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and very economical, like we keep saying.
Yeah, there's a skeleton of an actual movie here, and it's done in 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now with sprinkles.
Yes, RJ Godzilla, it is better than Mars Attacks. That's objective.
Apparently Chewbacca's mother doesn't like that we're live streaming in the middle of the night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the time.
Yeah, I'll hang up.
It's the time I have. I've got 2 kids, man. My work night starts at 10.
See, that's how you should have called for the break. You should have just said, "We'll be right back." Okay. In that quick pan from the logo, like the title to Bart and Santa's Little Helper, if you look really close, you can see Willie hiding in the background. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know if I noticed that before or not.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the animation here is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. Doing the kind of Warner's thing. And I like
and it's around with animation a lot in this episode, obviously, because we get the 3D stuff later.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Yeah. Like that was kind of subtly simpler, subtly flatter.
Hmm. It just looked more like hand painted. There was nothing mysterious about his disappearance. He simply disappeared.
It's so good. He ran his buffer over me. And this is another one of those that's really walking that line between being legitimately kind of unnerving in places and just being like outright funny and not scary at all, like with the buffer thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of the choices that are done in these dreams are the kinds of things that Freddy would do, and the lines are not like the one-liners, not exaggerated one-liners, exactly the kinds of things that character would say. The whole like the whole Latin joke is brilliant. You master a dead tongue, but can you master a live one? It's genius. And like everything, and like he's doing the conjugations for the Latin word dead, and that it's about that it's a dead language, and the stand-in for Freddy is trying to kill him, and like it's just everything about that. Like, I love really good, clever puns in the first place, but that whole thing kind of inspired, I think.
Oh, you know what? We shouldn't have done this one tonight. We should have done this one in Smarch.
Oh, yeah, but I don't like to broadcast in that terrible Smarch weather.
I can understand that. Especially here in Canada.
So for years, I was quoting this bit and didn't know what episode it was in, and was floored when I realized it was in my favorite episode. Because it's my favorite episode because of the last segment.
Yeah, because like what gave you the idea for us to do this was we did like a Patreon Discord watch party of these.
Yeah.
And when we got to that joke, you were like, "This is where this comes from."
A couple of my favorite Simpsons gags, I don't know what episodes they're in, because there's also the golf one. You know, Homer, the traditional way to cheat in golf is to lower your score. Like, I've been making fun of, or I've been laughing at that out of context for years. I don't know what episode that's in. One of the things that always stuck with me about this segment was just Willie on fire sitting down because he's told to while he's burning alive. And what they'll pay for is that they didn't get the fire out in time. They just made him sit down in a chair.
Yeah, Mr. Van Houten had a way more like important thing about his spaghetti dinners with Milhouse. Oh my god, it really is just the script in the chat.
When you get a chance, Austin, would you post an invite link to the Discord? Because Bob the Hun was asking for that to the public Discord.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. You might have to approve it, but I can do that.
You should be able to just do a public one. So I mean, since the thing is public, I posted it before. I just don't know how to make it not time sensitive. But like, I
don't know if YouTube will let me post a link.
Oh,
sometimes it won't.
I see. Sorry, you mean in the chat? Okay.
Yeah.
You could just probably get to it quicker than I can. You can do it between episodes if you want to. I just wanted to ask you if you.
I already did it.
Oh, so. Thank you. You may have to actually send me that because I don't know if it'll even show up since it's a link.
Oh, really? Okay.
But anyway, no we need to talk about this. I think the classic thing from this episode that everybody remembers is him transformed into lawn equipment.
Well, this is definitely during the era where they realized Willie's awesome. And like every treehouse, they're like, "Oh, we gotta put Willie in there."
It took them a lot longer to figure that out than some other characters, because you're always talking about how quickly they just went, "Oh, wait, let's use Burns in everything."
Yeah, he is all over season 2. Like already, they're like, "This character's great."
I always forget about the bagpipe spider. That's amazing, and the way that it like blows in and out.
I love Krusty with his "Don't dream about me again, kid." He runs away.
I don't know, Bart just knows him well enough, he's dreaming him in character. I'm gonna say, wait 15 minutes. Maggie saves the day a lot.
Yep. Well, this is the same season that you find out she shot Mr. Burns.
Oh, that's true. I didn't realize it was the same season. That's cute. I like that. That was a nice bit of landscape work there.
Yeah, the coloring in that shot was really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they're intentionally trying to make it look brighter and chipper, because it's like, you know, the problem is solved and everything's good and you won't realize that you're in a dream again. Which I think is what the end of that movie kind of does, if memory serves.
It is, yeah. Like, the worst ending imaginable.
It's kind of fun the first time I saw it. Okay, the only time I saw it.
No, I just laughed because that was like a producer thing, the ending. And it ends on the worst effect in that movie where he pulls like a blow-up doll through a window. And the remake also ends on the worst shot, or the worst effect.
How does that even work? So again, really every gag in this is pretty great. You know, I was already taken by it when I was a kid because I liked Poltergeist. And this is only kind of partly Poltergeist because then it gets into this whole, like, you know, math, science, quantum physics plays.
Yeah, because I think is a Twilight Zone episode maybe that this is looking at.
Is it? I knew there was another thing and I couldn't remember. I haven't looked it up in a long time. So I get why Marge's sisters are in episodes, but there's a part of me that could be okay with them just getting killed off and never coming back. I feel the same way about them that Homer does, I think.
Well, at this point, Marge just sounds like one of her sisters, so now there's just 3 of them.
That's true. There's a couple lines in particular in this episode. Oh, do you mean like just today? Like,
just like today.
Yeah.
Julie Kavner's voice is really rough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Hmm.
You see towels, you're probably in the linen closet again.
There it is.
It's my favorite. I love it so much. I quote it all the time. So good. That's the best line of this episode.
I'll call Ned. He has a ladder. And then it just cuts to him like standing on his ladder in the living room.
The second best line of this episode is something along the lines, and we're about to get it. I feel like I'm wasting a fortune just standing here. And also just, I think it's so clever to do the third dimension as like the fifth dimension, where you're in a cartoon and everybody knows that they're flat and they can't get their heads around a third dimension. So when the guy draws a cube, everybody loses it. It's so good.
Yeah, this and Futurama do some good gags with stuff like that. Or there's one episode where they're looking at a magazine and Lisa's like, oh, like in the future, through evolution, humans could have like 5 fingers.
Yeah. The 3D animation for 94, 95 on TV is about as good as it gets. I
think this is 96.
Is it that late? But even at that point,
95,
like
96, I think.
This is still pretty state of the art for right then. And I know it looks really crude, obviously, by today's standards, but go back and look at Reboot and look at Beast Wars. This looks as good or better than either of those ever does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, most everything else that it's animating is really simplistic besides Homer.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we'll get to see Bart later. They at least know that you got to do both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. But I mean, just besides the people that they do, yeah.
Oh, no, for sure. Outside of that, yeah, no, it is.
Like
you get some equations in the background.
Disney jokes in this show feel weirder now that it's on Disney Plus. Do you have that?
Yeah.
I feel
No, that's perfect.
hypersensitive to it. Like, they made a Tron joke just now, and I'm like, and now it's on Disney Plus. It's just, everything about that is weird to me. The hypothetical Z-axis.
In the Valentine's Day one that kind of uses this format, one of the segments is Lady and the Tramp, and there's a joke where they're gonna gas the dog Homer, and before they gas him, they gas Goofy, and then he gets out of the gas chamber and he's like, "Well, beats working for Disney."
So Stephen Murphy was just quoting the show, and he got his question or his comment flagged by writing "egghead."
That's amazing.
It is. Yeah, Stephen Murphy. I always like that line too. I wish I had read that book by that wheelchair guy. I also appreciate doing the poltergeist thing that they go as far as to have Marge say something about a light. You have to have that. Is there a light? You gotta go to the light. It's my favorite thing to make fun of about poltergeist is like the little old lady just keeps changing her mind. Like, go into the light. Don't go into the light. No, go. No, don't do that. I never noticed, I guess because I'm dumb, the XYZ, yeah, on the signpost. Because I think I caught the X and Y, but I never saw the Z on the top.
Oh yeah, it's great.
We watched this segment in high school in a science class.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I don't remember if it was... if in the class they were talking about quantum physics or if they were talking about just like the graphing 3 dimensions. I don't remember what kind of class it was.
I remember I had to watch Treehouse 3 in my French class in grade 9.
Oh, really?
But we had to watch it in French, so I was like, I have no idea what's happening.
So, have you looked this up to see where the street was? Because there was...
No.
Because I'm pretty sure they didn't dress that store to be an erotic cakes place. I'm pretty sure they just found an erotic cakes place.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Which is wild. They just found that. They're like, we found a place that feels like a Simpsons joke.
I love the like soft sitcom-y music as he walks into it.
It's great. I tried to just blow the screen back up, but it just left when I did that, so it's not letting me look at the credits.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I tried to go up to the next episode where Homer gets on disability, but I was able to stop it in time.
So everybody keeps getting flagged for saying erotic cakes. It's great.
Erotic cakes. Oh.
Okay, stop it. That's where I draw the line. You can't do that anymore. Okay, so now we're gonna do 11, and 11 is weird, and I had never seen it before, so I'm coming into this with just one watch, and yeah, the dolphin thing is so bizarre. I have very little to say about that except what and huh.
I love the dolphin one. It's so good.
Okay,
It just turns into a parody of the birds, but with dolphins, and they're all.
Oh, I guess it is that. I didn't even think of that. So season 12, right?
Yeah, that was a segment as a kid my dad always mentioned where he'd be like, oh, like all the dolphins on the telephone wires, like it's so good.
So we complete our evening tonight, folks, with season 12, episode 1. Like he was mentioning, we get to a place where they just make it the first episode of the season.
Yep.
Everybody give me a minute because my browser just broke on me. Hold on.
Ooh.
I gotta start this episode over. So yeah, Treehouse 11, Season 12. All right, hope everybody's there. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
Watching the Munsters.
Yeah, I do love the Munsters gag. This is pretty great. I loved the Munsters as a kid. I didn't watch it a ton, but I have nostalgia for that for some reason.
Are you excited that Rob Zombie is going to remake it?
Not even a little bit. I'm not going to bother with that. I've never liked anything I've ever seen of his.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. It's just the wrong choice.
And to be fair, we'd be saying that about anything that his name was on. But it doesn't make it less true.
I used to be like, his Halloween isn't great, but it's still one of the better horror remakes. I rewatched it recently, and I think it annoys me to a point where it might be one of my least favorites.
I hated it with a
passion.
Awful.
No, it's terrible.
And the second one is somehow worse.
Yeah, the second one is the only movie I've given a 0 on Letterboxd.
Horoscopes aren't usually this specific.
Oh, Weird Al's writing them.
Oh, yes, of course. That's from Running with Scissors.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite
Weird Al songs or albums? Or...
Yeah, albums, yeah.
How do you feel about Poodle Hat?
Oh, I like Poodle Hat a lot.
I do too.
That's also one of my favorite ones.
I think the last track is trying way too hard to be Albuquerque, but other than that...
Offhand, which song is it that finishes that one again?
Genius in France?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Never cared for that. It's a downer of a last song, because it's not that great. And it goes on all day long just because that's what he did last time. He'll get tired of bleeding. Nature's quitters.
You said that so perfectly with how the episode is. It was like perfect timing.
I remember that part. Bob the Hun, $2 super chat. Thanks. Thoughts on Poltergeist ripping off the Twilight Zone? I always forget about that until somebody brings it up. And I guess that's the reason that they brought in specifically Twilight Zone stuff in that episode. I've not seen the episodes that it apparently rips off, so I don't have an opinion, but I have heard people say that.
I own all of Twilight Zone. I meant to go through all of it like a year ago, and then I've seen a few episodes, but I need to get back to that. Go through all of them.
I've been doing a watch through with Brandon, but very slowly. Okay, so I don't even understand what happens when he dies, and then he's a soul, and then the soul dies, and a soul comes out of that soul. No, this one's fun. I think in some ways, you would agree with this. I think I like this segment more than the other two, actually.
I mean, that's fair. I like all three segments in this episode. I think all three of them are pretty fun.
Yeah, the Hansel and Gretel one didn't do anything for me.
That's fair. I really love the Rapunzel joke, though.
How does he... Okay, here's... Part of the reason I like this one is because I saw Ghost Dad when I was a kid, and I couldn't help but nitpick the crap, but not even nitpick. It's just, it's so easy to pull apart. Nothing in that movie makes any sense. And this, I think, is directly making fun of that with the broccoli gag, because that movie, it's like Bill Cosby can pick up, he's dead, and he can pick up, as a ghost, whatever the script chooses that he can, but then in other scenes, he can't pick things up. There's a whole thing about, like, having to concentrate real hard or something, and they're just, like, really arbitrary about... You know, so there's no reason he should be able to pick up that broccoli, and they know that, because they know that's dumb in Ghost Dad. The freaking Boy Scouts, they've ruined everything. Like, how's he carrying her? He's a ghost. RJ Godzilla says, this is around where I stop loving the Treehouse of Horrors and start tolerating them.
That's fair.
He's also stopped quoting constantly. We're at the place where he doesn't know these
I
as
wondered
well.
if you'd start to see less quoting.
You're seeing less of that now, yeah.
As season.
Stephen Murphy is even commenting on that specifically. Even though I know this one, it's probably harder to quote compared to the others, which are embedded into me.
Yeah, because when we were going to do more, my plan was to do 3 classic and then jump around to get some later stuff. But we got one of them. So.
I'm really sorry for ruining your plans.
You better be.
Just 1 minute to get into heaven. That sounds like a movie.
It sounds like a Meg Ryan movie, specifically.
I love this bit. He picks up a baby just because he's irritated with him and saves it. Why is there a fire in the baby carriage? What caused that? Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. You partially liked the Rob Zombie thing. I had your reviews, Super El Bisto. You at least had some nice things to say about it. I was surprised that was as coherent as it was. And yeah, there's some jokes here and there in that I like. But overall, it was not a super pleasant experience. I still go back and forth on the rating I gave that. It was probably a little too high, but I was as pleasantly surprised as I was completely disturbed and mortified by that movie.
Yeah,
some great animation in that, certainly.
When Cap said it was a good movie, he was only kidding.
I was only kidding. I really love you. We need to do some Weird Al material.
Next Friday we'll just do a bunch of Weird Al songs. We'll listen through.
You know what though? No, like you joke, but there's no reason we couldn't do. I don't know that anybody would watch it, but there's no reason we couldn't do a watch party for like a series of Weird Al videos.
Or we could even just review albums. That'd be good.
We could.
We're always just talking about Weird Al.
But commentaries on videos are fun. I don't know how well you know those, but I know the videos quite well.
Yeah, I know a lot of that stuff really well.
Oh, you know what? I like the beginning of this quite a bit. The whole, like, oaf versus dunce thing. Like, I can't even be a dunce. Oh, yeah! Stephen Murphy, you just reminded me. I had a question about that last vignette. Why is John Wayne in hell?
If you have to ask, then...
What is the joke there? I like that the last kids their skeletons look exactly like their current kids. We somehow made them even more horrible parents in this fairy tale.
I'm 50-50 on that.
You think so? I don't think they would have ever resorted to selling them in present day.
Give it season 35 when they really need an episode idea.
There's a bit here that is inspired and genius, and I can't believe I never thought of it.
Oh, when he mixes them?
That's amazing. And this one is just right. Wait a minute. If you just take the scalding one and the super cold one, you get just right. Yes, of course. And he says, doesn't take a genius, which makes me feel even stupider for having never thought of that as a kid.
Yeah, see, I like this, the kind of jumping through different fairy tale stuff. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and don't you feel like you're seeing some shades of Disenchantment before Disenchantment, in
Yeah, I can see that.
Have you watched any then?
I have seen half of season 1, and I liked it well enough. Like, I think out of the 2 shows, it's the weakest, or the 3 shows, it's the weakest, but I really would like to get back to that.
See, I don't even feel like it's fair for me to say it's the weakest because it's the premise I care about the least. You know what I mean?
So, it's like, also a very different show.
It is. It is.
And I think that's a lot of why it was kind of...
And it's this, but serialized, and it was really ambitious to try that.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why it was more controversial, is people wanted the fantasy version of Futurama, and that's not what that is.
No, but I also appreciate the argument maybe of fantasy, maybe like generally lends itself more to a serialized format. I mean, I guess you could also say that about science fiction, but that thing was making fun of TV shows and movies as much or more than it was literature. But like fantasy stuff, so you know, like episodic and you know, not a serialized stuff. But that show was doing the more like fantasy epic thing, and so it kind of made sense that he went that way with it. I liked it a lot more than I expected to, and I haven't looked at anything past the first season yet, but.
Yeah, and I think it's on 3 now.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if that had come out yet.
I think so. This is very like Witch Hazel.
So we should have immediately expected to see Homer eating this house as soon as we see this house, right?
Yeah, I love that. That's a load-bearing candy.
Yeah. I also like that she ultimately justifies his existence by calling him an oaf, which is the job that he lost at the beginning of the episode.
Yep.
Bob the Hun, $5 super chat. Poltergeist was close enough that the writer of those 2 episodes sued. One had a TV that sucked a kid in another dimension, and he won the lawsuit. Now that you say that, I do remember hearing about that, but it's been so long I forgot about
Interesting.
it. RJ Godzilla, I also think it's getting around network standards is what helped make Simpsons and Futurama good, and Disenchanted doesn't have that. That's fair.
That's fair.
But there's also no way around that. I mean, like, you're not going to have those standards now. I mean, unless you put it on network TV, I guess.
Yeah, these shows both walked so that you didn't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah. But the question, of course, is always at what cost. Like, if you're not forced to have limitations, it's really easy to not be as creative. And it's also just not as impressive when you're pushing certain envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why nobody's impressed with, or at least a lot of people aren't impressed with a lot of the really, you know, hard R, crazy, violent stuff that a lot of DC properties can do now on HBO Max and before that DC Universe. It's like, okay, I don't know why I'm supposed to be impressed by this. Like, so you guys are allowed to do whatever you want to, okay, and so you are. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna let Austin talk about the dolphin one.
Yeah, I love the dolphin one. It's so good.
There's an animated Tick episode that you need to see because the villain is a talking dolphin, like in this, called the Fin.
Oh, yeah.
And this reminded me a lot of the Fin.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's forced to live at like a SeaWorld type place and do tricks for his owners. And then there's what you think is a world domination plot that turns into just him wanting a bunch of fish. And he builds a fish magnet. And there's your Free Willy moment. And that's not a great Tick episode, but it has one of the best lines, I think, in the series, which is, a fish magnet? How's that even possible? Everything's attracted to something.
Like they made me do tricks like a common seal.
horrible, racist dolphins.
Yeah, no, dolphins are awful creatures. That's just like a natural fact.
And night swimming. Oh, good call, RJ Godzilla. So long and thanks for all the fish. Shouldn't have said that. I want to know how this even got made. Like, who thought this? It's such a bizarre choice. Rowdy teens. That line Jason cracked up at. He thought that was really... Blowhole burns. Looks like rowdy teens. Oh, they ate the sea captain. I missed that.
Yeah, they like rip him in half when he's like, I'm the only one who knows how to stop them.
This episode almost makes me want like a twisted, perverse version of Echo the Dolphin.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I love them doing like the military chants.
The big thing, I mean, it's hilarious and absurd, but the big thing that I cannot go with this episode is the ending where they tell you that the dolphins started on the land and they were forced to go into the sea, and they're clearly sea creatures. So when they were on the land, they just bounced around on their bottom fin. Upright? What? It's so ridiculous.
One of my favorite just visual jokes like that is so in Sleepy Hollow, there's a part where the Headless Horseman's trying to get this one guy, but he goes into a church, and then he like spears him with a fence post through a window, and they recreate that exact same shot, but it's with a dolphin, and it like bursts through Willie's chest.
Yeah, it occurs to me that there actually is kind of a Douglas Adams thing a little bit inherent in this premise, because the idea that the dolphins started on the land is in that same absurd place that Adams has of the dolphins like leave and go to space. Yeah. And reading the book, I always imagined the idea was supposed to be that they somehow built spaceships and went to spaceships, but the movie made it just they just jump out of the water and fly into space. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've seen. Oh, here's the Sleepy Hollow shot.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's what it was. I've seen that movie one time.
That's like a guilty pleasure for me. I'm not a Tim Burton fan, but I remember liking that movie quite a bit.
Well, it's got some crazy walking.
Yeah, and I love that.
So I don't even understand this this joke here where like he's just got this really cute voice and then he just clears his mouth or he clears his throat. Yeah, like that's what I said, Mo. We were trying to get out. Oh my god. Philip Kelton, again, it's funny, it's Lisa who dooms everyone 2 times.
Yep. That's why you never trust Lisa.
Marge has that sometimes, though.
Yeah, that's why she's tired of always being wrong.
I love how when I said that, you thought I was talking about you.
Yeah, because I just said something, and you're like, are you tired of being wrong? Like, oh, sorry.
I was just quoting. This is genuinely disturbing.
It's my favorite part of the entire episode.
The
telephone wires.
The gangster shot. Okay, I feel dumb. That's from something specific. And I don't know what it is. But I recognize it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. One of the dolphins is gonna like kingpin comic book guy. The car door.
Yeah. Almost has an extra layer after Daredevil, actually.
Exactly.
We're really supposed to buy the land as the native habitat. I'm enjoying this more watching it with you.
No, because the segment is just so strange. I love it. It is just the perfect, like, absurdist.
Oh, he put a cork in his blowhole.
Yeah, it killed him.
Oh, there's also a giant running whale in a different Tick episode called Blowhole that has like this cult following of hippies that go like, Blowhole, we love you, Blowhole. They just made a VN sign with a bunch of dead bodies. I hope there wasn't a sequel to that.
No. Although, you do fight them in the Simpsons game.
Is this the first tonight we've seen King of Kodos?
No, they're in every episode. Every
Oh,
Treehouse.
yeah. I guess I'm remembering at least once else. Are they in every one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a commentary, so we're talking.
Yeah, they're in the Gremlin one because the Gremlin's on the side of their ship.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
right.
then-
That was fun.
They're in the time travel one.
Yeah, every time I try to click on the box, it just goes back to the Disney home screen.
Oh, weird.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know how many people in the comments were happy with that choice, Austin.
Hey, at the Goosebumps one, I was like, you know, if you have any suggestions, let me know. And nobody did, so.
There you go.
I am happy because I love the dolphin segment, so.
Well, that went by very quickly.
Mm-hmm. No, it did. That was a lot of fun.
It was. Well, hopefully, folks, that holds you over okay for The Simpsons until we get to our Season 4 overview, and we're going to try to get that done within the next month or two, hopefully. Like I said, I can't make any promises right now. My life's so up in the air with taking care of my twins and stuff, and it's harder to prepare for a thing like that, but we're going to try to do it soon. And this was a ton of fun. Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you have a good time on Sunday with whatever you're doing for Halloween. Austin, what are your Halloween plans? Are you doing anything cool?
So I have to work tomorrow, but then afterwards I'm doing a stream with DJ on his channel, so check that out. We're gonna be watching the movie House, which I've never seen, but he and Connor have. They're gonna be on it too. DJ was like, Austin going blind.
Oh, I thought Halloween was on Sunday. I guess it is tomorrow.
Oh no, that's part of like my Halloween stuff.
Oh no, it is Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay, no, sorry. It's just you said that, and I started second guessing things, and I looked at the date, and it was the 30th. But I didn't look at the time. It's past midnight, so I was right in the first place. Okay, you threw me off. The whole.
I'm sorry.
I was already going through my brain, going, I gotta change my whole tomorrow.
And then as for Sunday, just hang out with some friends, maybe watch some scary movies. I don't know yet. I was gonna go see the original Ghostbusters tomorrow, but I have to work, so.
Sorry to hear that.
Sucks.
Well, have fun with DJ. He was originally wanting to put that movie on the channel, and I just didn't have time to do it. So I hate that I'm not going to be there, but you guys have a good time, and let me know how that movie is.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to do it earlier, and then because of my work, I assumed I was just out and wouldn't be able to do it. But they were nice enough to move it to later, so.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Check that out, everybody.
Well, guys, we'll see you again real soon. Austin and I will be here again next Friday, not with a watch party, but with a comic review is the plan right now. I don't even want to announce what it is in case that ends up changing, but I'll post about that soon. And in the meantime, thanks so much for watching. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin the Day Ghost.
I'm the day dolphin.
The Day Dolphin? I think you say Dolphin Ghost.
A giant firework or a gunshot. I don't know what that was.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, really? That was a huge bang.
Okay, well, it might have been appropriate that I said that in the past tense. This was the Day Ghost.